Welcome to another episode of the Miles Offside podcast, where we talk a little bit of football and a whole lot of nothing. My name is Oscar Puente, also known as Footy from Afar, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Chuck Bailey and Ian Stimson. How's it going, lads?
What's up?
You good, Oscar?
Yeah.
Yeah? I just feel like this podcast is now just a bellwether of your mood.
Yeah. You can always tell from the intro where we're going.
Yeah. I went back to the classic intro on this one. I didn't even use the, we're literally three people talking. Which I can't decide if I like more or less than our regular one. We got that from a listener, right? That came from Twitter?
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Loads of other people were listed with sort of descriptions of their pod, and then ours was just, Sam Danby, I think, literally three people talking.
I'd be really happy if we did if everyone wants to leave us a 5-star review. Ding! Putting it at the front of the pod now, because I know you probably switch
especially
off.
all our American listeners. We still don't have enough ratings on American iTunes to rank. So that'd be great.
Yeah, 5 stars, but please feel free to just put literally 3 people talking. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's
fine.
We'll just take the stars.
Yeah. Literally right now, take out your phone. You all have a phone on you. Take it out. I'll wait.
Yep.
Okay, now open up iTunes.
Fingerprint recognition.
Yep.
No, you're not holding your finger in the right place. Do it again.
No, the other one. It's sweaty. Wipe it off. Do you get that? I have really sweaty fingers, so my fucking fingerprint thing doesn't
mine
work.
barely ever works.
Yeah.
No, it never works. Mine's on the back of my phone. I don't like it.
Is it?
Get an iPhone like the rest of us.
No.
You and your fucking green text messages. Anyway, leave us a review. That's all. Okay, so if you are joining, I didn't do this last week and it felt weird. I just kind of jumped into it. So I want to say welcome if you are a new listener. We're happy to have you. We are just literally 3 people talking, like Sam Danby said. We go through some news. We go through some deep dives on some bigger stories. We take a break. We come back with listener questions and predictor games and all sorts of fun stuff. And then preview next week's fixtures and call it a day. So let's go ahead and jump right into it with our breaking news. No, that's not what it is.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's not what the fucking section's called.
Honestly.
35 episodes in.
It's been a long day, all right?
Jeez.
The fact that I even turned up after the last 2 weeks, really.
Well, yeah, true.
Pull yourself together, man.
Yeah, sorry, okay.
I don't tightly script this podcast so as you can get it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't want to call a segment by something that accurately describes it. If it is new news, then it would be breaking. We want it to be rapid news, where we take a lot of time.
But bear in mind, it usually takes me about 2 days to get the podcast out, so it's definitely not breaking.
It's not breaking at all. Even some of these stories are from 6 days ago, as of recording time.
It's not even news.
Okay, anyway, the new listeners are definitely getting a good idea of what the hell this show is like.
Yeah.
And unsubscribe.
Yeah, there is. Well, let's try that again and jump into it with our rapid fire news. Top story this evening, Claude Puel has been sacked as manager of Leicester City after 16 months in charge. Chuck, at least he made it a year, right?
That's what Roy will do to you, son. Roy Hodgson, the elder statesman of the Premier League, officially now, as the oldest serving and oldest winning manager, with a lovely, fully undeserved 4-1 victory over Leicester. Loved it.
Yeah. Talk us through that. I'm curious to hear about the 4-1.
In long and short of it is it. Even watching the game, it had 1-0 Leicester written all over it. It's just what teams forget and where Palace do well is if you let Palace play their own game or give them the ball or whatever, we're not very good. But if you try and attack, we're actually all right because, now with Batshuayi coming in and stuff, we've got quite a lethal front three that is very pacey. So we just kept hitting them on the break. And then just a penalty and a few other bits. And yeah, it's a shame Puel went, but, from his post-match, it did very much seem like he kind of knew it was coming and resigned himself to it quite a while ago. Not that he's the most emphatic of managers anyway.
Yeah.
He has got a lovely voice, but you just fear for him. You just think he's going to cry at any moment.
We've talked a bunch recently about whether managers aren't given enough time or they're given too much time in some cases. Sarri specifically. Ian, what do you think? Was it fair to get rid of Puel now, or was it a bit harsh?
Did you say 16 months?
16 months, yeah.
I mean, that
Has he
seems...
been there that long?
I was going to say, I didn't
BBC
realise it
article
was that
says,
long. Yeah. I mean, that's a hell of a run. I mean, that's fair enough, I think. And I mean, I think Leicester fans, maybe they're slightly skewed by their Premier League win. But I mean, generally, I think they've been pretty patient. Leicester have been really inconsistent this season.
Yeah, I just don't think what Leicester fans are used to as well, and where they obviously won the league, was being this exciting counter-attacking team.
Right, exactly.
And he's Puel, not just in his personality, but also in his tactics, is fairly reserved, and I don't think it plays into his hands. Or played into his hands, sorry. Because even Jamie Vardy was coming out and saying that the tactics don't suit him because of the type of player he is. And I heard there was a few other things like Kasper Schmeichel and some other dramas. So let's face it, none of us are surprised.
That's right. Although I did think how far he's fallen, thinking about how he got back-to-back victories against City and Chelsea just a month and a half ago, almost 2 months ago. It was around Christmas. I don't remember exactly when, but it was around.
Oh yeah, that is true. They beat because Leicester beat City the week after or the week before Palace beat City. The week after, I think. Yeah,
that's right. And right around when we got in there too. It was we talked about City's bad run. They beat City and then they beat us back to back. So to go from that to fired less than 2 months later, that's pretty quick.
Maybe the level of ambitions just changed at Leicester. It's not good enough.
I agree with that. I think that they definitely are expecting, to be challenging, at least for Europe.
Yeah, pushing for it, or decent cup runs. They got knocked out by Newport, I think.
I think a lot of fans weren't best pleased about that team they put out there. So
yeah, no, not at all. And Vardy did come out and say I don't think his style play suits me. It's bad. But to move on to, I guess, our next story / still this story developing. As this morning at the time of recording, Brendan Rodgers was appointed as the new manager of Leicester City. So what do we think about that, guys? What do we think about Brendan Rodgers?
It's just good to have him back in the Premier League, isn't it? He should be good value. He was great value when he was Liverpool manager.
I thought he did a fantastic job at Liverpool. I thought he was it was a bit harsh to get rid of him when they did. I don't know if you guys have seen the comparison of his first 100 games versus Klopp's first 100 games, and he actually has
they're almost identical.
Almost identical, and I think if I remember correctly, Rodgers had a couple more goals scored and one more win or something like that, but basically exactly the same. And everyone talks about Klopp being this, mad genius and this, huge changing everything at Liverpool and bringing them up to the status they deserve, blah, blah, blah. I thought Rodgers did a really good job when he was there. I thought they were fun to watch too,
Yeah, they were still a really good team. I mean, they still pressed for the title then, but it's just where I know a lot of the criticism for him came from his recruitment kind of side. He didn't necessarily buy a lot of the best players, and it didn't really work out for him in that way. And it kind of shows that obviously Liverpool had the money, because now they've spent Klopp's had 5-6 transfer windows and a ton of money, and they've given him that to go on, and they just didn't feel that Rodgers was the right person to take them further than that. And that's not necessarily to say that they thought he was a bad manager, but he did good things at Swansea. That's what got him the Liverpool job, and he's had time to get his confidence up in the Scottish Premier League. But I just wonder, I think it'll be good for Leicester because he'll open them up and play more attacking, obviously. But I wonder if that time in the Scottish Premier League where it isn't as competitive has kind of maybe dulled his kind of tactical nous or something like that, potentially. But definitely one to watch.
Yeah, do you guys know anything about how his teams played in Scotland? Was it a lot of possession the way he had been at Swansea? Was it counterattacking? Do you guys watch the Scottish League at all? We don't get it over here, so I've never seen it.
Mate, it's Scotland. It's Celtic, and then it's bin men. It's not a very competitive league.
They don't brand it like that. But yeah.
That's on the commercials.
Yeah.
On Sky Sports.
But that could be some value on their FPL players if they, if Vardy comes back and they do suit more of Vardy's style of play. He was fantastic value back in the day, so that could be interesting. Certainly one to watch. Our next story this evening: Mauricio Pochettino has been charged with improper conduct by the FA. after his behavior at the end of the 2-1 defeat at Burnley, where he angrily confronted referee Mike Dean and argued with the fourth official. So what do we think, guys?
We just really want to know what Dean said, don't we?
I really want to know what Mike Dean said. What did it to incense? Because Pochettino is always so level and reserved, and he was after that in the post-match interview. He was very kind of self-deprecated. Isn't the word? What was it? It was just really calm.
A good performance, wasn't it? He was sort of saying, it's the team's fault and ultimately my fault, and he did a real good job of diffusing it. I almost thought he might get out of the charge, to be honest.
Yeah, he did a much better job performing in the post-match than his team did on the pitch, because that was pretty bloody woeful.
Yeah.
No Llorente, no party. That's what it is.
That's the rule.
So what happened? Because I didn't see this. Someone run me through it.
So it was a disputed corner that was the main thing for Burnley's first goal. Was that right? And Burnley got the corner, but it shouldn't have been, basically.
Yeah, I think it came off Jeff Hendrick. He dived in, and it looks like on the camera from where Mike Dean is, he should be able to see that easily. But, it's Mike Dean, so...
But I'm almost surprised Pochettino went off, because he had a good sort of half an hour to calm himself down. I mean, obviously, I suppose you've just lost, so you're not going to be that calm, but happened like 60th minute or something, didn't it?
But to flip out about a corner kick call, it seems excessive. Like, especially we talk about him being like a level-headed guy. Like, what was it that sent him off so much? Like, I don't understand.
I think ultimately he was just angry about his team's performance and then just vented that way.
Yeah. Well, there are rumours going around that obviously Mikey Dean has had a bit of a dig. Whether you can believe them or not is untrue, but it does seem weird that there are videos of a camera going close to the confrontation.
Yeah.
And Pochettino's assistant shouting, "You can't say that, you can't say that," and Pochettino saying, "Say it again for the cameras." So,
wow,
I wouldn't put it past Dino.
Anybody has a lip reader come out and be like, "Oh, he called him so and so." Yeah, there's always a lip reader ready to go when there's an incident.
Yeah, usually, I don't think they had a shot of it. I haven't seen anything like that. So, no. Dean knows exactly what he's doing. He knows where the cameras are.
Yeah, that's true. He always has at least one eye on the cameras. Maybe that's why he messed up the call. All right, well, our next story, David De Gea got his 100th clean sheet this weekend at Liverpool, putting him at less than half the number of clean sheets of Petr Cech. So,
dig.
Pretty good, right? Half of Petr Cech is not bad.
Isn't he half the age of Petr Cech as well?
All right, that's uncalled for. He hasn't even been the Chelsea keeper for years now, but I still I love him so much.
Officially his last season, isn't it?
Yeah, he's retiring, and Chelsea already said they're giving him a job. So they do really well to take care of their guys afterwards. Like John Terry, Drogba, Lampard, Cech, all of them have come through after retiring to sort of do stuff. David De Gea, best keeper in the world right now, not the best keeper in the world right now. After the World Cup last summer, is 100 clean sheets a big deal? What are your thoughts on all this?
It's taken him a while to get there. I mean, in that he's been at Man United for a long time now, and I read something on I think the BBC that said he would need another 8 seasons or something at the current rate of clean sheets. He'd need another 8 seasons to get to Petr Cech. I mean, that's a lot. When he started young, because remember when he first joined Man United, everyone was like, because he made a few errors or whatever, everyone was like, he's young, he'll sort himself out, so he was very young when he joined. So he's got time, but it just seems like, at the minute, the rate of clean sheets is not quite elite, but he is obviously a elite keeper.
Yeah, he joined in 2011, so he has, I'm on his Wikipedia right now, he has 264 appearances for Man United. So a clean sheet every 2.5-ish games.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, 2 out of 5 clean. 2 out of 5 games is a clean sheet, which is fantastic. But he is 20. He's only 28, actually. For a keeper, that's still pretty young. They tend to go till their late 30s. I don't know if he'll still be at United for that long, but he's got another solid 8 seasons. So I could see him getting there.
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like him. Fuck him. He's Man United, so fuck him. That's all.
Oh, dear.
Done.
And I wonder why our Northwest numbers are down.
Yeah. It's because we talk shit about all the northern clubs and the region. Ian, I think you're the only northerner that I like.
Oh, fucking hell.
No, that's not true. I don't know.
Oh, that's not true. I don't like you.
I don't like you either. Exactly. Well, speaking of people who are dislikable, next story. Jose Mourinho is hoping to avoid internal conflict at his next club. Quote, "I want to work with people that I love," says former Manchester United manager. Isn't
So
he
he's going to work with himself?
Yeah.
That's what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
He's just going to sit on his own in an office playing
Well,
football
if he wants
manager.
no conflict, even he would. He seems like the kind of guy who would start an argument in an empty room.
Yeah. Annoyed at himself. I think it's amazing. I mean, the cause of most of the internal conflict, saying he wants to work at a club with no internal conflict.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, just stay jobless, mate. Just stay jobless.
Yeah, he's gotten paid I think it was £80 million in payoffs from getting fired at all the different clubs he's gotten fired at.
I believe it's 72 million.
72, there it is. Yeah.
Let's not
Chuck
split
has
hairs.
that memorized. Chuck's doing sit-ups like a guy in prison being like, 72 million, 72 million, just training for his revenge.
72, right, just analyse it for 1 second. Just stop. Just stop
Here we
and
go.
think. 72 million quid for being shit at your job. Well done. Well done. You get paid that much for not being good at your job? Fuck.
How much do you get paid for being shit at your job? Not 72 million.
Not 72 million.
Yeah, I wouldn't be here talking to you fuckers.
It's his Chuck's way out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just start fights with people 3 years into a new job and then you'll get paid out.
Just need to get people getting Patreon subscriptions and buying socks, mate. That's what I need.
We're getting there. And our last story this evening, Fulham under-18 player Ben Davies. Ben Davis? I never know how to
Davis.
pronounce that anymore because you people all pronounce everything all wrong. Could face jail in Singapore, says the country's Minister of Defense, because he missed his mandatory national service.
See, you say Ben Davis and all I think of is the Welsh guy who plays for Tottenham.
Yeah, no, this is an 18-year-old lad for Fulham, and Singapore are threatening to chuck him in prison for 3 years because he's missed his national service. 3
years is a lot of time.
Clearly, this kid doesn't understand. You just need to go to the Asia Games.
This is how we do
and
it.
win. That's what you need to do.
There's a well-established route for avoiding national service.
How did he not figure this out? Oh, just say to Singapore, just be like, we'll win the Asia Games.
There seems to be a little bit of, isn't he not declaring for Singapore as well? Because there seems to, I don't know whether it was the Ministry of Defence who were getting involved in football matters, saying sort of, well, we trained him and now he's over there. So, all right.
It's a different kind of training. I don't really see him using an M16 at Craven
I don't
Cottage.
think they were getting at that, yeah.
Maybe in the north. That might come into play.
Yeah, but never in West London. God,
No,
Come on.
that's very un-Fulhamish.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, that'll do it for Rapid Fire News, so let's go ahead and jump into our big stories today. Chuck, I'm going to have to substitute you for Willie Caballero, so if you could just get off the mic and let him in.
I'm not going anywhere.
No, we're
No,
we're
I'm not
subbing you.
going. I'm not going.
But I've already put in the...
I'm not going!
Okay.
Just, am I Zola or David Luiz in this situation? What am I doing?
Well, you're not David Luiz with that hair. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, nowhere near enough here.
No.
Okay.
All right, well, so I guess our big sort of... the thing anyone's talking about on Soccer Podcast this week is the ridiculous Kepa situation at the end of the Chelsea City match.
Are we going straight into it? Should we talk about the game first, at least?
Sure, I'm happy to talk about the game.
Yeah, Oscar's going to be delighted to talk about the game.
Let's give Oscar something to be happy about before we destroy his soul again.
Yeah, Chelsea Twitter was like all kinds of angry about everything after this match. I think the Kepa incident obviously brought out a lot of emotions in most people. And then losing in penalties is always tough. But in terms of compared to what else has been going on at the club for the last month, I think it was a pretty good day. And at the end of the, end of the whistle, I was happy. We held City for 120 minutes. Definitely held them over 90. We had them actually slightly edged on XG. That's not saying much. It was 0.63 to 0.59 or something. So
I remember looking in about the 85th minute, and I think there'd only be one shot on target or something.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. There was no shots for a long time. But that's a good thing. Like, when Chelsea can hold City genuinely to like a 0-0 that isn't a huge fluke in terms of XG, isn't a fluke in terms of performance. Like, okay, so my big thing that I've been harping on for weeks now is Sarri's so stubborn, he can't change his tactics, he doesn't change the lineup, he's always playing Alonso, blah, 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 blah. In this match, they definitively came out in a different shape. It was still a 4-3-3, but they were in a completely different shape tactically. They didn't press aggressively. They had a medium block, which is to say the defenders were in the 18-yard box. The midfielders were just slightly outside of that. And they pressed, but never more than 3 people at a time, and never into the other opponent's half. So, like, that's just completely radically different tactics than what we've done. And it worked.
But you can't, it would be pretty immature of Sarri not to adjust the system when about a month ago they got hammered by City. And so, he had to take lessons from that. There's no two ways about it, because there's absolutely no way he would have kept his job if that had happened again.
Sure, but if I had asked you ahead of this match if you thought he was running out the same old 4-3-3 with Alonso, or if he was going to change the tactics, what would you have said? I think all of us would have said he's just going to run out the same old nonsense. Like, so for just it being, like, I think the first time that I can remember him tailoring tactics and a lineup specific to another opponent instead of just saying, this is the way I play, this is what I'm going to do. And fucking surprise, surprise, it actually worked when you play to our strengths and, like, try to go towards their weaknesses. That was great. Like, that made me happy. The guys all looked genuinely passionate. Perhaps in Kepa's case, a little too passionate. But who knows what happened there? We'll get to that. But they looked good. And in crucial moments, in like a critical time, he subbed on Loftus-Cheek and Hudson-Odoi. Instead of, there wasn't Kovacic for Barkley at the 70th minute. Like, and I even tweeted 2 hours before the match.
No, so.
Yeah. I was like, oops, I meant to schedule that for 1 p.m., which would have been the 65th minute. And it never happened. So, like, all of those things are pluses for me. You get to penalties, you lose penalties, it's going to happen. Jorginho is fucking terrible at penalties. Jorginho needs to not take them. But, like, I'm not upset. I don't care about this trophy. I don't fucking care about the Carabao Cup. I care about the performance, and they performed pretty well. Like, compared to everything else, I think it was something for Chelsea fans to be happy about. For once. What was your take on it? Like, because you guys have heard me crying for the last 2 weeks.
I thought Chelsea would win because, like, their training gear is sponsored by the Carabao as well, and so it's the Carabao Cup and the Carabao team. It's like Arsenal winning the Emirates Cup each year in the Emirates Stadium.
Yeah,
I just thought it was just meant to happen. Not that anyone really knows what Carabao is or has ever seen anyone consume Carabao ever.
What is it?
It's an energy drink.
No one's ever bought it. No one knows what it is. It's just it's a front, isn't it?
I've been drinking milk in protest and Coca-Cola.
The milk cup.
Yeah.
And going to Rumbelows and
ordering something from Littlewoods.
Fucking hell, the Littlewoods cup anyway. Yeah, they did go quite hefty on the branding with the 6 foot high LED fluorescent hoarding.
For a drink no one's ever seen.
Yeah, for a drink that doesn't exist. It's not real. To adapt to Man City and hold them to 0-0 in that way is incredible from Chelsea, and it is a shame, obviously, when you go out on penalties, because penalties are a lottery. I don't think anyone really enjoys penalties. I don't, unless I'm actually vested in a game. I pretty much turn off penalties
Really?
when it comes on, because at that point I don't care, because it's just.
But there's always such drama. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's just too much of luck, and I'm not really that bothered. There needs to be some better way of it happening. I just think do extra time forever. Just keep doing it.
That's what basketball does.
Yeah, do like 4th overtime and 5th overtime and 6th overtime, and just keep it going.
Eventually, someone will just concede on themselves because they want to go home. Like,
I've had enough. Put that in.
Put it in. It's easy. And yeah, I think you're exactly right. The fact that he has used some of the younger players, and finally bringing Loftus-Cheek on and Hudson-Odoi on, especially in what is a cup final, and the fact that Sarri's never won a major trophy. So, I'm not saying obviously that it is a major trophy, but he's never won a trophy.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So the fact that he has faith in those players is really good. I mean, obviously with the transfer ban, he's kind of going to have faith in those players.
Have we talked about that? Or was that after we recorded last week?
No, well, I mentioned it last week as a possibility, and then...
Right. And then the story came out the next day.
There's a lot of stuff going on with Chelsea. And, we've kind of mentioned it a few times, and it kind of culminates in what kind of sullies a great game with this Kepa incident, which has been a bit of a laughingstock. I don't know what your thoughts are really on it, Oscar.
Me? Oh, I think it's fucking hilarious. You know where I'm at with this club right now. Like, just something to watch. It was entertaining. I don't like Sarri, so people being like openly revolting against him is hilarious. So I'm sitting there with I got a bucket of popcorn. It's got like extra butter on it, like really good popcorn. And I'm watching and I'm laughing and I'm like, yeah, fucking get it. Let's go. Fuck that guy. He sucks.
That is how you were.
Yeah, in the moment.
Yeah.
Emily was cringing and dying because she gets a lot of secondhand embarrassment for people. But I was laughing. I fucking love an awkward situation. It cracks me up. But it's obviously a bad look. Like what? I'm not,
Yeah.
That's not, Kepa is in the wrong, fully. Whatever he thinks of Sarri, if someone makes a substitution, you need to comply with that. Period, point blank. Right? Yeah. But the bigger thing to me, and I noticed it before extra time too, and I said this to Emily, and I think I might have texted you guys, I don't even remember. But I said, it's really weird. The camera lingered over Pep leading his huddle, basically on the edge of the pitch before extra time, because they don't go all the way into the locker rooms. And then they cut to Chelsea's huddle, and Sarri wasn't even in it. He was kind of ambling around on the outskirts of it, but wasn't interlocking arms with anybody. And Aspi was very clearly leading the huddle inside, giving the team talk, talking about this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. And I was like, holy shit, things are really bad that he's not even in the fucking huddle right now. And then later when the Kepa thing happened, I immediately was like, oh, okay, Aspi's going to go over, make Kepa go off. He's the captain. Mm-hmm. He's one of the most level-headed, nicest people. Him and Conte are beloved by all players in the entire league from all teams. Just class act kind of guys. The opposite of Diego Costa, right? And he didn't. He actively ignored the situation. And then later, when it was about to be penalties, everybody was coming up to Kepa and patting him on the back. Alonso literally kissed him on the cheek for good luck and was like, you got this, you got this. Aspi went over to Kepa and didn't say shit to Sarri. No one said anything to Sarri at any point. He was off by himself in the corner. So that Kepa did that is embarrassing, but that no one had Sarri's back. Not anyone. They didn't even try to intermediate and be let's calm down.
Didn't David Luiz go over to him and say he needed to come off or whatever?
Yeah, but Luiz isn't the captain, and he half-heartedly did it. It wasn't anything significant. I think he just went over and was like, they're trying to sub you, bro. And then Kepa was like, no. And he was like, okay, fine. It really shows how little respect they have for Sarri. How much he's completely lost the dressing room. That's more embarrassing. I knew that they didn't respect him. I knew that they had kind of quit on him and stuff. Yeah. And we've had issues with that, and we've talked about that. But, just the sheer balls on Kepa to be like, nah, fuck you. Nah, fuck you. I'm not doing it. Fuck you. And everyone else was like, okay. And they just kind of didn't even say anything. And then afterwards, Sarri comes out and is like, oh, it was just a misunderstanding. It's fine. I'm not angry at all. That's fucking pathetic. Dude, grow some balls. I would respect Sarri more if he brought down the fucking hammer on Kepa.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm not fucking playing this kid. Whatever, just coming down hard. Instead, he was making excuses for him. Clearly lying. No one believes you.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That the story that, he didn't know the situation until the doctor had come back to the bench. Well, why, once the final whistle had gone, was Rudiger basically holding you back from going over to him? If the situation was just miscommunication, and once the physio came over and said, "Oh no, he's okay," you would have been like, "Oh, okay, fine, everything's cool." It's just ridiculous.
I don't think anyone for a single second believes the PR bullshit of spin on it. And the simple fact is, and maybe I'll be on a slightly different tack to you then, Oscar, is the reason they had to come out and do this is because it's an absolute joke and an embarrassment. Like, it's symptomatic and kind of gives evidence to what everyone has suspected about Chelsea as an outsider for a few years, and that is that the inmates run the asylum. And it's not just the thing with Sarri and saying that Sarri's lost the dressing room, because he's come out several times and said, I can't motivate these players, etc., etc., etc. You look at Conte, the same thing happened. The players stopped playing for him and was taking him out. The same thing happened with Mourinho. I think it's just the sign that none of them give a shit, and they feel very entitled. I think it's disgusting for the way he displayed himself. I also think it's ridiculous that the referee then didn't book Kepa for delay of play, because that's absolutely what that is, for refusing to come off. And I don't give a shit what the misunderstanding of situation is. Kepa will always have the defence of Chelsea now, sadly, and because of the way football is, because he cost them £71 million. If Chelsea believed it was truly a misunderstanding or whatever, they wouldn't have fined him a week's wages, whatever that is, 100, 200k. You can't sit there as an inexperienced young goalkeeper and see and not understand how things work. And the fact that your manager, who hasn't won a trophy before, is in an incredibly difficult position, is getting to the end of extra time, so brings on Willy Caballero, who, goalkeeper substitutions are fairly common nowadays, especially in cup finals, etc.
Right.
And everywhere. This happened, I remember, notably with Tim Krul a few years ago for Holland, and he then went on and saved 2, maybe even 3 penalties. To bring on Caballero, who's got decent experience and is a good penalty saver in both dead ball situations and shootouts, and as well used to play for that fucking team.
Yeah.
So if there's anyone who's going to have an insider knowledge or gain some sort of advantage, it's there. And the fact that Kepa, in such a petulant, disgusting way, and I don't care what he says. I do not care what he says, because he didn't even attempt to go over, explain if that was genuinely it. He wouldn't be basically making fuck off gestures to him. It just shows that at the minute, and unfortunately it does pay me a bit to say this, Oscar, and I do feel sorry for you, that Chelsea Football Club seem to be a bit of a joke at the minute. Because they've got this going on around them. They've got a manager that no one trusts. They've got a transfer ban coming in. They've had issues with racism recently with regards to Raheem Sterling. I've then seen videos circulating of Chelsea fans smashing up cafes or something, and then all standing around chanting, "We are Chelsea, we do what we want." I just think it's fucking disgusting, to be honest. I just cannot believe. And if it was any other job, profession, there would be so much shit flying down. And he shouldn't absurd. Instantly, Kepa should just be dropped. That should be it, gone. Because respect is the two-way street then as well. And if they're saying that Sarri, the players don't have his respect, then why should he, have that respect back to Kepa and shouldn't play him?
I don't disagree with anything that you said. I just don't care enough to make like a whole thing of it. The club seem to want to move on. The guy wants to move on. Like it is what it is. To me, it's not interesting insofar as it's not really any new information. It reveals the extent to which...
I think it gives more evidence to what people have hypothesized for a few years.
Yeah,
I definitely think it does. That it just shows, so it's snakes in the dressing room.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. And as much as you say
Azpi is a nice guy, and if Azpilicueta is such a nice guy, then he would still have respect for his manager, if what you're saying with regards to that is true, and if he is the club captain, he should have that respect to his manager, because that's just the way it works. You don't... This is the problem now with footballers. When do you ever see a footballer dropped or got rid of or sold off because of problems? It never happens. The manager is always the scapegoat. It's ridiculous, and so everything in that regards of modern football, I hate saying this, but that's what's wrong with it, is that the players do control it. It's as simple as that. And if they don't want to do something, they can get people fired. No, and I
fully agree. I think that obviously the locker room, there's a lot of bad influences, players that are like not, I don't know, the right kinds of players. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like maybe Hazard doesn't have his head on right, and he's never going to push on to that next level. Maybe a lot of guys are willing to quit on the manager and like, what the fuck? This is the third time this has happened. Unacceptable. And then obviously, like from the Sarri side of it, he's a terrible manager. He should be able to motivate them. That's literally his job. And like you could talk about like, oh, maybe they're an impossible group, but like, he's still doing a particularly bad job of it. And you talk about the racism and the fans, and like a lot of Chelsea fans are bad. Like, but I think that's the case with everywhere. Like, a lot of people are just bad, and so they happen to be Chelsea fans, or they happen to be Liverpool fans, or they happen to be Palace fans, or like whoever they are. Like, there's a lot of shitty fans everywhere. Burn it all down. Like, burn it all down. I don't. That's what I mean. Like, this is all shit that I've talked about, that we've talked about in like the last 2 episodes. It's just been like, oh, these players suck, sell them all in the summer. This manager sucks, get rid of him as soon as possible. The fans suck. Sorry, guys, we have shitty fans.
Chuck's come at it from Kepa's point of view, and I'm in agreement. Like, it's ridiculous. Your manager wants you off. It doesn't even matter if there wasn't an injury, like you say. There's previous for taking goalkeepers off before penalty shootouts. Exactly what you said. But from Sarri's point of view, the whole situation was avoidable. And he's made his position completely untenable now. So it looked like Chelsea, and it still bizarrely looks like Chelsea are sticking with him. But all he needed to do was stick to his guns there. That's all he needed to do.
Yeah.
It was sort of ridiculous that the referee even came over and asked, what do you want to do? Because that was because of the context of he knows the situation with Sarri. A lot of other managers, that would have just been, like you say, booking, whatever, get off, you're being subbed off. But anyway, all Sarri had to do was stick to his guns. When the referee comes over, yeah, he's coming off. He's coming off. That's it. Let him act like a twat if you want. And he's the bad guy. Everyone will see it like that. And job done, But instead, there was this to and fro. No one knows what's happening. Going off down the tunnel, half pulling off your jacket. That's a good look. Nice one. Coming back. Like, it was just, the whole thing was completely avoidable. And now they know they can do what they like.
Exactly.
If they didn't know it before, they fucking do now.
It's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. Like, but I'm not going to harp on that because we've been a fucking embarrassment for weeks now. The only thing I'm focusing on, because I have to, is like that it was actually change tactics. I was so fucking ready to come on this goddamn podcast and be like, praise Sarri, the guys played well, we changed the tactics, blah, 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 blah. And then he does that shit with Kepa. And Kepa was way out of line and way in the wrong, and we can all agree on that. But Sarri handled that as poorly as you could.
Yeah.
Like the weakest kind of substitute teacher who's just like, stop it! Ah! And then the kids just keep throwing more papers at him. Like, grow a fucking pair and do your job. Get him the fuck off the pitch. Fine him more than a week's worth wages. Don't fucking play him. If he starts tomorrow, like, we're a joke. We're just a joke.
Yeah, this will probably come out on Thursday. And so you will all know if he's started. But yeah, at the minute we have no idea whether Kepa's going to start this match. I mean, if I was in charge, not a chance. But, I mean, God knows.
No chance.
Same here, but
He's down in the under-23s, like, see you later. Yeah. He's got the Luis Suarez punishment of going through and, like, teaching the youth players and stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Is he even that good? 71 million quid, is he even that good?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think he's a good goalkeeper.
No, that was a desperation buy because Courtois fucked us, remember?
Yeah.
He, like, refused to show up for training.
Yeah.
He went back.
And also it's Bilbao. Like, Bilbao have ridiculous buyout clauses on their players because they only sign Basque players, I think. No, is it Basque?
I don't know.
One of the regions of Spain. They only sign people from that region. That's why they're very limited with who they can sign. And they sold like Aymeric Laporte for 50-something million, and then Arrizabalaga for 71. But they have all that money and they can't spend it on anyone because there are no. That's
my big fear going into this summer too. With so we didn't really touch on the transfer ban. Chelsea have a 2-window transfer ban. It's happened to a bunch of clubs. It happened to Madrid, both of the Madrid clubs. It happened to Barca. It's just part of like, I guess all clubs just ignore this rule and then eventually FIFA comes down on them or whatever. But everyone else has appealed it and then it gets pushed back by one transfer window. So I think it's pretty safe to say that the assumption seems to be in like everyone in the media and at the club that they'll still have this summer to take care of what they need to take care of. And then the next 2 windows will be where the ban goes into effect. But like with Kepa, where they had us over a barrel because they knew the season starts in 3 days and you need a keeper, so we can charge you whatever we want, you're going to pay it. This summer, when we go to make moves, because we're probably going to whatever ends up happening with Hazard, Willian and Pedro are both old, so we need to get some wingers. Like, we've talked about the left back situation. Emerson starting was great. I like Emerson, but he's also not a true left back. He's a left wing back, just like Alonso. Like, there are things that this club needs to do, and everyone else in the world knows that we have that transfer ban coming up, and that's going to put a 40% hike on all of the prices. Like, oh, you want this left back? £200 million. What are you going to do? You need a left... You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's why we paid so much for Kepa. I don't think he's that good. But he was, like, one of the few targets they had, and everyone... And, like, Bilbao knew that we just had to pay whatever they wanted because we needed a keeper. All right, well, moving on from that match, let's just briefly touch on the other... And there's not going to be much to say here because holy shit was this boring. Manchester United 0, Liverpool 0, 0.5 to 0.5 on XG. I think the biggest story there was how weird it was with all the injuries and substitutions. Like, there was nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, so Matic got injured in the warm-up and had to be subbed out of the team, I think, out of the lineup. But it was like in time where it wouldn't have counted. And then they made 3 subs by like half-time?
Within half an hour, I think it was.
Yeah. I think it was 20-something minutes.
Fucking hell. And Rashford was on injured for pretty much the whole game, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had to just put up with it, yeah.
Rashford just ran, not even ran around because every time he went to make a run, I was like, Jesus, this guy's going to tear his hamstring. And one of the subs had to be subbed off because he himself got injured.
Yeah, best mate Jesse Lingard.
Upset to see that.
Sorry. It's as much as I hate Jesse Lingard, it is very poor form to laugh at someone getting injured. So
yeah, we're not really doing that. Yeah.
That's not why I laugh at that, although he is a prick. Get well soon.
So I think really the only thing to talk about is that this was Liverpool's game in hand, and they only got 1 point out of it, whereas 3 would have been obviously much better. So they're only going to be 1 point ahead of City now. They're both on 27 games played, which leaves us very well set up for an actual title race. Because even 3 points is a pretty big lead. That's a 2-result turnaround. Like, 1 point is nothing. And this also helps Chelsea out. Because Chelsea have a game in hand, and they're only 2 points behind United, 3 points behind Arsenal. So if they win tomorrow against Spurs, they're back into 4th place probably. So it does make things really tight for the title and for top 4, which I know Chuck doesn't care about, but it does mean a whole lot of money. And generally speaking, if the better teams have things to play for, as opposed to just running down the season with nothing going on, that does make for more entertaining matches for everyone. So I think to me, that's the big story, is like, what a wasted opportunity for Liverpool. Especially against United, using all of their subs before halftime and having another player injured. They were basically playing with 10 men. Liverpool have to look at that and think that they fucked up.
Yeah, I don't really understand it. Do you think they got into their own heads?
Well, Salah looked tired.
Salah hasn't been himself for weeks.
Yeah, all those United players out, they're known for being quite free-flowing.
I think there was some weird stuff with Klopp, too, because Firmino came off and he seemed to be really hesitant to put on Shaqiri.
Yeah.
Shaqiri. No. It's Shaqiri like daiquiri. That's how we're saying it now.
Okay. Which was weird, because like you would think that you want to bring on an attacking player when their other team, first of all, is bad at defending, period, on a regular day. And then also have injuries, but he didn't. He played it very conservatively, which seemed like a misstep to me.
I definitely missed my prediction of 2-1. But
Smalling.
Chris Smalling all he had to do was stick his leg out.
Yeah.
He was a been there, and he just went, no, it's all right. Just let it go. Very apathetic.
Yeah.
Wasn't happy about that. But yeah, even again now it's rumoured with lip reading and stuff, but it's rumoured that Klopp basically at the end of the game went up to Solskjaer and just went, that was pretty shit.
It did look like he said that was a shit game.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was. It was just, we all got excited for it, and then that happened. And I think it was really bizarre watching it with all the injuries and the substitutions, but also, I think that distracted from how bad of a match it was.
Yeah, and it really would have broken up the game with that amount of injuries, and God knows what was happening.
Yeah. All right, well, that about does it for part 1, so we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll get into the usual second part stuff, so stick around.
Welcome back to Three People Talking, where we've spoken a bit about drab 0-0s, and then we often open it up in part 2 to you guys to get in touch with the questions, be that on Facebook or Twitter. Twitter's at MilesOffsidePod, or drop us an email at gmail.com/MilesOffsidePod. Ian, questions now.
What did you just say the email was? It literally sounded like you went internet.com / say Ian's name 3 times and then it will go through.
I probably did.
Yeah, okay.
I've had a long week. Okay. I don't remember words.
milesoffsidepod@gmail.com if you want to be like the second person to ever send us an email.
Oh yeah, I did like half Patreon. That's what I know what I said.
Yeah, you literally said email.com/milesoffsidepod.
I thought email.com.
I really want to try that. What's email.com go to?
I said Gmail. I fucking said Gmail at least, you prick.
All right.
Well, if only we were on a recorded medium and we could check.
Yeah, if only this could be checked back.
So anyway, Dave Matteo comes in and keeps the food theme from last week going. A lot of food talk on our Twitter. Dave Matteo, if you became famous tomorrow, don't know what he means by became. I mean, already famous, but fine.
Huge in Norway, bud.
Yeah. Big in France as well. Huge in France.
Big in Bermuda.
They named a sandwich after you. What do you want in the sandwich?
Can I just use the sandwich I talked about last week? That's already my favorite sandwich in the world. The Beast.
What, you just have that named after you?
Yeah, just rename it. Not the Beast, the OP. Let's go for it. Let's run through this again, just so you guys know, because it deserves to be said again.
Yeah, what was in this? Yeah.
Breaded chicken cutlet, cheese, whichever you choose. Cheddar is usually my go-to. Bacon, onion rings, French fries, and gravy on a garlic foot-long hero or sub or whatever you call that bread, depending on where you're from. Mm-hmm. So good. Ooh, fuck me up with the gravy, baby.
So much going on there.
Mine, after the food chat last week, would just be a tortilla wrap with some I don't know, probably like the one sandwich that I've made that has been like the best sandwich is just sausage, bacon, black pudding, and Guinness brown sauce.
Jesus Christ.
It's just me.
That is a heart attack. Heart attack waiting to happen.
Yeah, well, like, it's just like, the bread is just like a glove for eating meat with your hands, isn't it?
The bread is very much a side issue.
Just everything in there. Just take your meat. It will be like there's the bit in Friends where Phoebe's pregnant and starts to eat meat again, and she's just like talking through. It's just like, what are you going to put on next? Some salami. Oh yeah. Now what next? Pepperoni. Oh, good. Wait, what's that? Pastrami. Yes. Like, it's just that.
Cheddar on white bread for me.
Cheddar on white bread, no butter, please.
Yeah, no butter.
Just a toasty.
I don't know, maybe like beef brisket, jalapeno coleslaw. That's a thing for me at the minute. I'm all about jalapeno coleslaw.
So sorry, was that jalapeno and coleslaw or jalapeno coleslaw?
Jalapeno coleslaw.
Ah, okay.
2 buckets of heavy cream.
1 tub of double cream.
Shit, I forgot the cream. How can I crowbar
There's
cream into this?
There's a big theme to your home cooking.
Yeah, I mean, I assume everyone's washing that down with half a pint of cream. That's
yeah, for dipping.
Yeah, cream for dipping. Yeah, that's what I dip my chips in as well, Carmen. Adam P asks, in honour of the new Alan Partridge show, this is going to just be one for me and you, Chuck. Who do you think Alan's favourite current Premier League player would be, and which manager would he cozy up to?
You never know, Oscar might have seen it.
Nope, but I'd give an answer anyway, if you want.
Oh, it was... go on then, what's your answer?
Not knowing anything about Alan Partridge at all, I'm going to say that his favourite player would be Leroy Sané, because he's very quick, and Alan Partridge is quick-witted.
Oh, no. You've
okay.
misjudged.
I don't know. Is he funny? I don't actually know anything about him. I think he's a comedian, if I had to guess. And favorite manager would be Jose Mourinho, just because he's entertaining.
Maybe.
No, that one you're not massively for. I can see something.
So what's Alan Partridge's deal? Tell me, enlighten me.
Right, I can't do that unless we're going to do an Alan Partridge podcast.
Okay.
Well, you can do it one day.
I need with such is the canon. I would need.
You can do a brief synopsis of the character.
Okay, so he is a failed. Well, he's a comedy character. First of all, it's not an actual guy.
Oh,
it's a comedy character.
There you go. Didn't know that.
There you go. So you're learning. He is a failed TV stroke radio presenter. And so everything he does is sort of a spoof, basically. But
gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, brilliantly though, the characters existed since the early 90s on radio.
Yeah, very early 90s.
And like the way they've just kept a sort of storyline of his life going. Like there's an autobiography where the guy reads it for 8 hours in character. It's just the best. So yeah, there's a whole sort of his career has just been. What's the word? Just noted down, and everything's kept in order. So like his horrible divorce with his wife and stuff always pops up in his work, and it's brilliant.
Okay, so is he like a sad sack, or is he like just an asshole?
Yeah. That's a little. It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of pathos to the comedy. Definitely, sort of.
So maybe Sarri then. Sarri and Kepa, right? That's like the height of like pathetic. Sad but funny, and Sarri's kind of a prick.
You can imagine Sarri just going, Dan.
That's what he was doing. Kepa. Screaming his name about 20 times. Brilliant. Oh, he's not heard me.
I don't know. Current managers, I can't think of what comes to mind, but it's Pardew, isn't it?
It's got to be.
Alan's,
that's a great
Alan's
shout.
Together.
Yeah. That is a great... Yeah, he would love him. Yeah, British. A bit showy.
Dances, probably drives a Lexus.
Lexi.
Thinks people who drives Mercedes are sad.
Brilliant, yeah.
He's possibly a sex person, so... run away.
Definitely a sex person.
They're sex people, Lynn.
That's a great shout. Yeah, definitely Pardew. Yeah,
definitely Pardew.
Yeah.
And then for the other aspect of personality, probably James Milner.
Workhorse. Yeah, maybe Mark Noble.
I feel like I understand the character less than I did 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
It's nuanced. It's very nuanced.
It is. Yeah. I like this one. Yeah, Carmen said, given that I'm a Patreon of the podcast, if I want to cancel my pledge to patronise another podcast, can the Miles Offside podcast refuse to be subbed? Which I enjoyed.
Yes, because we have your bank details.
Yeah.
That's right. We will steal your identity.
Maybe we already have.
I enjoyed that one, though.
Yeah, that is good. That's a good joke.
And Sam Danby, who, being as he's a 5-star reviewer of ours, that means he's a 5-star gentleman, he DM'd us a picture of a pizza that he got in Norway with... did you see it, Chuck? Yeah,
I saw it.
I did not see this. Good. Is that on our Twitter?
He DM'd us it. So it's a kebab meat pizza, but it's also got fries all over it. So...
Yeah.
That's so upsetting.
And then it looks like it has the sort of what is it? What is that sauce they put in kebabs? The white sauce. I fucking can't think of
garlic sauce.
Garlic sauce. That's right. Garlic sauce. Thank you. Yeah, couldn't think of that, but yeah, it's got that just spunked all over it. It just looks great.
Sam Danby. Oh no! No!
Yes.
No, just no.
Yes.
That's a disgrace. That's a bigger disgrace than
the very definition
Kepa.
of fusion right there. That's fusion.
That's
Norway's
some
paving the way, yo.
Hipster nonsense. Ugh.
That's not even hipster. That's just dirty.
It makes me so angry.
I thought you'd enjoy that. That. Well,
zero enjoyment.
I immensely enjoyed it, and I want one in my face.
Well, yeah, got to go to Norway. I mean, if we keep being massive, we'll eventually do a live show there, and then we'll just be dripping in kebab pizzas, I imagine.
I don't think that would be garlic sauce on you.
Oh, that's a shame. I'll take it.
Yeah, I know you would. You slut.
Or if you want to say it in Norwegian, that would be kebab pizza. Google Translate either doesn't know what to do with that, or those are the same words in Norwegian.
Brilliant. Thank God I can order one if I ever go.
Yeah.
Very good to know.
Yeah. So, Sam Danby also took the food interaction up a notch this week as well.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know, I think you tweeted it from the account, Oscar, or maybe it was on your personal account, I'm not sure, but you tweeted a fry-up that you'd ordered. Was it last week?
That's right.
Yeah?
To rate my tweets, or rate my
plate.
Right? Is that the name?
But, describe the fry-up for us first, Oscar.
Well, I was at an American diner. Of course, I'm in America. I was at a diner.
It's just a diner, yeah.
Yeah, just to us, it's just a diner.
Yeah, it's sort of like how in China they call Chinese food food. Like,
right.
Do they?
Exactly.
Yeah, just food.
Oh, it's weird.
Yeah, they don't even say it in Chinese. They just call it food. It's really weird.
It's true. Check Google Translate.
So I'm at a diner. It's Sunday morning. I'm like, I want to get me as close as I can get to an English fry-up. So
you jump on a plane and...
Yeah, exactly. No, I got eggs, bacon, sausage, white toast, grilled tomatoes, and baked beans. And I put them all on the same plate. And I took a picture of it and was like, this is basically a fry-up. And then everyone flipped out and said that it did not look correct. I was like, it's not as good as like an actual English fry-up, but it had all the key components.
Okay. Well, Sam Danby took it a step further because what he's done is he's put it on the Facebook group, Rate My Plate. And
okay.
This is a closed group that requires you to be a member. And
this is you what?
And so far, it's attracted 72 comments.
Oh
boy! So.
Oh my god! I like that you genuinely didn't tell us this either.
No.
Oh,
yeah,
this is so
great.
good.
One of my favorite podcasts, the Weekly Planet. It's not sports; it's nerdy stuff. But they have a segment once in a while called "Hate Mail," where the hate is with an 8, and it's just 8 pieces of mail, but it's never actually 8. They just read like a list of people just calling them garbage and saying "fuck you" and blah, blah, blah. So I'm excited. You're fulfilling a lifelong dream right now.
This is your
Hate with
roast.
the 8.
Yeah. Well, this is all Sam Danby's work. This has nothing to do with me. He messaged me today and said what he'd done and sent me some choice comments. And I've since joined the group so I could look at all of them. But,
all right, let's hear it.
Carl Morgan says Oscar needs his feet beaten with a bamboo stick.
Okay. Why are they talking about my sex life, though?
It's rude, isn't it, really? Just need your fry-up rated.
Maybe Carl's getting involved.
Oscar requires buggering for that plate of shite.
Oh, my goodness.
Jesus Christ.
So Stephen Koshot, beans with brown sugar and shitty bacon. People have been murdered for less. So, who he's talking about. That gets a reply. I imagine meals in Guantanamo Bay have been more appetising.
It wasn't that bad.
Seems harsh.
Oh.
It's not if you see the picture of it.
Well, your beans got a lot of hate because they're quite dark.
Yeah,
colour
that seems to be the thing.
Yeah.
So obviously they didn't look like the wrong color to me.
Yeah.
What's wrong with them? Tell me.
Well, we have a more sort of bright red sauce, and it's sort of like more of a tomatoey,
more orangey.
Orangey actually. Yeah,
okay.
Orange sauce. Yeah. Because these look like sort of not kidney
Barbecue
beans, but what? Say again.
Like barbecue beans, like when you go to...
these look like
they're
barbecue.
baked beans. They just get made with like syrup and brown sugar.
Yeah, not in this
beans.
country. It's like a tomatoey sauce, and it's
no. I know the beans didn't taste quite right.
right.
I've had many English fry-ups.
Sorry, yeah, no, I did. I have defended you later on in this, but no one replied.
Let's hear it.
Someone else. Can we have the wall built between us and America instead? That's not a full English. That's a fucking hate crime.
Oh, Jesus.
Feeling particularly upset about it there.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Oscar is deluded. Do not be like Oscar.
I mean, that's true.
He's up there with Oscar Pistorius. Needless. That one.
Okay.
Bit excessive.
Needless.
Shots fired.
Shots fired.
Why would you
Nice.
put rabbit shit on a plate? Again, having a go at the beans. I think the last one is the beans look like they've been shat out by a dog.
So mostly people just hate the beans, I guess.
The beans are the main issue.
There was a lot of them on the plate. They did take up like half the plate. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is more beans than I thought.
There's a lot of beans. Your eggs did look like they'd been ironed as well.
Oh, I got my eggs over hard because I don't like a runny yolk, which I know is like the least English thing.
Yeah.
You guys want the egg to basically be uncooked.
Ugh.
It's fucking disgusting. But I like my eggs over hard. So yeah, they do get a little smaller that way.
No good. Yeah, there were a lot of Oscar the Grouch pictures posted.
Sure.
Standard. But yeah.
I had a fantastic name for growing up. Got made fun of a whole lot in school.
Yeah, I bet.
Oscar the Grouch, Oscar Mayer Wieners, which I don't know if you guys have over there. Luckily, Oscar Pistorius wasn't around yet. Or he was around, but just, not
shooting anyone yet.
Yeah,
not notably murdering
hadn't
people.
gained notoriety yet.
Oh, man. That's good stuff. Stuff.
I thought you'd enjoy that. Just, I think it's all calmed down a bit now because it's a very busy group. Lots of vomit emojis.
You should post that garbage-ass fries pizza with white sauce on it and see what people say.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Do you know what? I'll do that, and then next week I'll see what the answer.
Check in with it.
Yeah.
I bet I would... No, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck. Is it just American or just English people? Is it American people too?
I think it seems like it's mostly English people.
Oh, don't worry.
Okay.
That me and Ian are not a very good sample size for the opinion of that pizza. A lot of people will hate that
No, but English
pizza.
people have terrible opinions on food.
A lot of people will hate that pizza.
All right, let's do that then. I'm excited to check in next week on the pizza.
I'll do that next week then. I'll put that kebab and fries pizza that Sam Danby sent us. I'll put that on the group and see what sort of comments we get back. I thought you'd really enjoy that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just fuck you guys. Just fuck you. That's all.
Sam Danby.
Get fucked.
You're a gentleman and a scholar.
That
was you.
Yeah,
quite something from Sam.
This is the Sam Danby episode.
Yeah, I know he's done well. As well as giving us a 5-star review, he's pulled a lot of good stuff out of the bag there. Sam messaged me with that, and I just had to message him back instantly saying, "Do not send that to Oscar or Chuck. I need to get them reacted to those comments live." Because when I read the Guantanamo Bay one, I just fucking pissed myself. But, yeah, thanks for that, Sam.
The wall one was my favorite.
Yeah.
It's always good.
It's a really good group actually, because I think I told you about the woman who posted her fry up previously and got an absolute caning about, did you make those eggs in a fucking tumble dryer and stuff. It's fucking brilliant.
Right.
But yeah. It's so good. It's just I feel like English people have that wrapped up, that sort of comedy. It's just absolutely brilliant. But anyway,
You're just being a prick.
yeah, totally. Yeah,
pretty
I'm
much,
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't get any
I'm well
arguments.
aware.
Yeah,
I encounter it every week.
You wanted to start this podcast, mate. Come on.
I know.
But if you want to be a Patreon of the podcast, a patron of the podcast, there are a few different levels you can pledge at. If you go to patreon.com/milesoffsidepod, you can get extra nonsense in your ear holes. Oscar got a lot of love from patron Johnny OG on the DMs about his nerdy newsstand this week.
That's right. Yeah, I'll be dedicating this Friday's episode to him.
Yeah.
Unless something crazy happens between now and Friday, I'll be doing a deep dive per his request on my thoughts on The Last Jedi.
There you go. So if you pledge $5 a month, you can get that sort of tailored service where Johnny OG has mentioned a certain thing, and now Oscar's going to do a mini pod for you.
Yeah, literally, we're whores. We'll do out.
Fuck yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to anyone about Star Wars, including an empty microphone.
An empty microphone.
An empty room with a microphone. Fuck you. All right, that's what I said. What I said.
He loves humour. But I do an FPL one as well, although why you'd want to listen to me this year, don't know. It might be the worst year ever. But I frame what you maybe should do, and then I ignore my own advice and do other things. Although I got Sigurdsson this week, and he scored 2 tonight, so... I didn't say get Sigurdsson, though, in the mini-pod.
No, you didn't.
I just did it.
You're one of those people who saves the actual advice.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
Bastard.
And Chuck, well, you saved your rant this week for the main pod.
Well, yeah, I was going to put it on Patreon. And the problem is, most of mine are based around anger, and I've actually been quite placid recently. So,
yeah.
You can get a pill for that. Oh, sorry, placid.
Over the counter now. Don't even need a prescription. Yeah.
Get a bluey in the bogs, innit?
Don't mispronounce that.
Either one. They both work.
Jesus Christ.
Right,
it
took a turn.
Chuck could always put happy stuff on. I was expecting maybe a happier rant after 4-1, but there was nothing forthcoming, even though you were the Puel killers.
No. But there is sadly the problem at the minute that obviously working in hospitality and running a pub that officially yesterday it was located in the hottest place in Europe. I might have been getting shafted for the last few days, so I haven't even really watched full highlights of that Palace game yet.
Oh, blimey! Okay.
So
well, even so, we give our Patreons value, and last week there was. I mean, we record for longer than we put out. We cut stuff out sometimes, and
we do put out.
Sorry.
And we do put out.
We do put out. Yeah, no problem. We cut out 6 minutes of stuff last week that then Oscar suggested we should put out as a Patreon outtake.
It's literally my favorite thing that's ever happened on this podcast. I don't think I've laughed that much in years.
Yeah.
It's up there.
It was a good one. So we got, what even was the initial question?
What,
it was about man crushes.
What celebrity man
crushes. And somehow I ended up talking about the Netflix documentary Abducted in Plain Sight with that weirdo old bloke who says he wanked off his friend who kidnapped his daughter. It's a good outtake. I don't want to get into it.
Fantastic. Because we were totally on track. Yeah. And it's like, oh, Ian, who do you have a crush on? And then you just went off about this really weird thing.
Old dude wanking chat.
Yeah. And there's a pedophile and a hand job. And me and Chuck are just looking at each other like,
you just let it happen.
What is happening right now?
It's ironic that the most Ian's ever spoken in a row on this podcast gets cut out.
It was wildly unusable. Had nothing to do with anything. You just kind of like...
Yeah.
Just went off quietly and sad. It was something to see. So I would say it's worth the $5 just for that fucking clip alone.
Yeah,
absolutely, is worth it. And one of you one day will fulfill my dream of letting me buy you some socks
at that $30 level.
Just keep asking.
It's gonna happen one day. It's gonna be someone who's drunk and stupid. Very much my target demographic. And Oscar really wants to make you a spreadsheet. He was adamant about getting that in there as well.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I'll make you a spreadsheet. Please.
Yeah. So check out patreon.com/milesoffsidepod. There's lots of extras. And we're open to ideas as well. Like Chuck said, we're whores.
Yeah, I'll literally do out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go to email.patreon/smiles Patreon part
- give Chuck money.
Outtake #/ buy socks. We haven't done it in a few weeks, guys. I know you're all excited because it's time for the Predicted League of Predictions. Sometimes we made it happen, but he hasn't updated it for a few weeks because he couldn't open the file because his laptop shit, and now he's done it. It's Chuck with the Predicted League.
So anyway, the old bloke wanked off his mate.
Oh. Speaking of wank, Oscar, you're letting the side down, Oscar.
Why?
You're not bottom anymore.
What?
Ooh, what?
What? Yeah, your son's still shit. He's down there, sadly, Finley. Is it child abuse? I don't know. Are you ruining his dreams, Oscar?
I think whoever comes in last should go to a Singapore jail for 3 years. Unless it's me.
I think that's absolutely fine. That was in the small print that I did send out. I sent out a T's and C's to everyone. And yeah, 3 years in a Singaporean jail was very much the wooden spoon.
Fair.
Oscar, you're only just above, though, on 78. This isn't including tonight's games and obviously that's the Tuesday and the Wednesday fixtures. Placement-wise, I'm not that far off of you because I'm only 3 spots ahead, but on 64. Ian, you're in 5th place, mate, with 48, so still well up there.
Okay.
But there has actually been quite a few changes at the top.
Has there?
Yes, so we'll go up from Ian. In 4th is Pad Full now on 44 points. 3rd place, resident punching bag Adam P on 42. And there's a tie at the top with Oscar's new boyfriend, John OG. And brand new to the top 3 as well, Mr. Raphael Chateaubriand is up there on 38 points. From out of nowhere, Cinderella story. Raphael, John OG, even Ian are all in prime position to win themselves that £51 gift card to the club of their choice. It's just a shame that Raph won't be buying it for a Premier League team anymore once Southampton get relegated.
Yeah, he'll be able to get loads of stuff in a Championship gift shop, won't he?
Yeah, loads of stuff. Sales, innit?
Oh, that's harsh. That's harsh.
Yeah. Oh, well. And so that's where we sit. Shall we look at the fixtures? I can't say upcoming fixtures because the upcoming fixtures for us are the past fixtures for them, and we're very much in a time vortex again. I don't understand how any of this works still. But we'll look at this weekend's fixtures. Starting Saturday, 2nd of March, the early kickoff is the North London derby. Spurs versus the Arsenal.
I guess I'm rooting for Spurs at this point because they're too far ahead of us to matter. And Arsenal are right in there, so that's disgusting. But I guess let's go Spurs at their new stadium. Oh, no, they're still at Wembley.
Yeah.
No, still at Wembley. Yeah. And this was rumoured to be the first game as well, wasn't it? Again.
Yeah. Again, yeah, I was going to say, bloody hell. Again. How many first games do you need?
Yeah. I'm going Spurs as well. Come on, the Tottenham Hotspurs. Bournemouth, Man City is the next game with Brighton, Huddersfield, Burnley, Crystal Palace. Oh, Huddersfield as well. I'm not saving this till next week. How do Huddersfield beat Wolves? It's the 1 week I bring 3 Wolves players into my bloody fantasy team and Huddersfield.
Yeah. Not good.
Huddersfield.
Not good.
Nope.
Huddersfield. Fuck. Anyway, Brighton play Huddersfield. Yeah. Burnley play Palace.
What do you think
Man
about
United, that? Well, I wouldn't have felt as confident if Burnley hadn't just lost to Newcastle.
That's got to.
It's good that the 9-game unbeaten run is done. So yeah, it's a good win against Leicester. We're playing Man United at home as well, and they've got a lot of injuries, which means they'll probably only win 2-0. So we won't be too deflated after that. Yeah, I think we can get a result at Turf Moor, absolutely. And that'll put us in really good stead on 33 points, I believe. Yeah.
Ooh, flying high with 33, wow.
33, yeah. Keep dreaming, 6th place. Man United play Southampton, Wolves play Cardiff. They'll probably lose again. The shits. Neil Warlock will have a lovely time. Colin Warlock will have a lovely time. Right. West Ham, Newcastle. Then on Sunday, we have Watford, Leicester, the West London derby, I guess, if anyone cares. Fulham against Chelsea. And then what I've been reliably informed by Ian is the friendly derby.
Yeah, friendly derby, for Merseyside derby.
Merseyside, it's all friendly up there. Yeah. There is the weird thing with geography with Everton, Liverpool that I'm not sure. I don't know, because, Oscar being American and geography, he might not know. But it's weird that Goodison Park is nearer to Liverpool than Anfield is, and Anfield is nearer to Everton than Goodison Park is.
Is it?
Yeah. It's very strange. Look it up. Google Earth that shit.
I will.
But yeah, it's very strange. Oscar, how are you feeling about the Fulham game? That'd be good for Chelsea, wouldn't
it? Yeah. I mean... Yeah.
You are fully checked out.
Do you think Sarri will still be there at that point? What do you think is going to happen?
I really thought they would have fired him before the Spurs match even, but it doesn't look like that's happening.
What do you think the Spurs match will be as well?
Are we at home or are we at Spurs?
It's at the Bridge.
We are at home. They play pretty good at home. I feel like we can still beat Spurs. On our day, we're a good fucking team, man.
Yeah, you believe in yourself again.
Yeah, it's just they're all over the place. But the bigger thing I'm looking at for this weekend is I think Bournemouth could do City.
No.
Really?
I think we showed that City don't like when people are very defensive, and Bournemouth are a very good counterattacking team. And that's what we did. We held City, and then we counterattacked with speed.
But Bournemouth also can't defend.
Bournemouth are pretty good. That's how they beat us. Defend and counter.
No, they beat Chelsea because, clusterfuck.
Because Sarri's naive and an idiot. But Pep also is going to go in there thinking he can go all out attack against them. I think Bournemouth could do a result there. I do. I think they're good at sitting deep and counterattacking, and that's exactly the kind of thing, as Chelsea showed last weekend, that can get City.
Well, I could maybe go over 3.5 goals on both teams to score, but I'm not going to be betting on Bournemouth.
No. And I mean, Bournemouth did follow up that famous Chelsea win by losing 2-0 to Cardiff. So...
Yeah, but the difference being that Cardiff also wanted to defend. That's what I mean. Like, Bournemouth are good against a specific type, and it's a team that attacks with players and gives them space. I think that exactly suits them.
Fair enough. Well, you've put your neck on the line there.
Bet on it. You can now. Do it. I dare you.
No.
Okay. Ian, any of those grab you as well, pal?
I don't know. Peterborough, Wickham? No.
Peterborough and Wycombe?
Wycombe!
I did appreciate your tweet as well the other day when Peterborough had scored against Strawberry Town.
Oh, so pissed off. Went 1-0 up against Strawberry Town. And then, as we've done so many times, got a player sent off and it all just fucking collapsed.
Oh, good.
Hey.
Honestly, fucking, I don't know what's going on at the minute. We're not even going to get a playoff spot at this rate. And we started the season so well.
Yeah, you're unbeaten for what? Double-digit games.
Up to the Leeds game, right?
Oh, it's Portsmouth.
Yeah, it's Portsmouth.
Yeah,
so
I went to that and I saw our first loss, yeah. And since then, it's just been an absolute shit show.
Well, congratulations.
So it's your fault.
But yeah, congratulations on being to blame.
It's Finley's fault.
You say you're not going to get a playoff spot. You are in 7th.
Come on, mate. You know how it is. At the minute,
I know exactly how it is.
We're in free fall, so it
playoffs.
just feels like we're going to be 15th by the end of the season. So
Nah, that's good. That's good striking distance. That's where you want to sit because there are always teams that make the charge at the end. Always.
I just don't
Because
see where it's
Palace
coming
did
from.
the exact same thing the year they went up to the Premiership. Like, we were really, really good at the start, and that stood us in such good stead. And then we fell off a cliff, and then Holloway just got us into the playoffs, and then that's what got us up. So you two can dream of championship.
I don't even know whether to go to this game. I've not seen them win at home this season. We've been so shit at home. I could go to this game, but I don't know.
Go, treat yourself.
Yeah, treat myself to what, another fucking 2-0
Yeah,
loss.
go treat yourself. Don't take the boy, though.
No,
don't take him with
boy.
I
you.
love that. He's got his scarf, hat, he's got his shirt on. No, mate, you're not coming. Remember Scunthorpe?
Yeah. Lock him in the cupboard under the stairs and say, you'll have enough. And then give him like a really old wind-up TV to watch it on. Like the handheld ones. Give him one of them.
Wind-up TV?
This is fucking not Billy Elliot.
You do live in the north.
You could always just leave him in the car with like a bowl of water and his favorite music.
And a sign that said, yeah, like you said, the sign that said,
Brilliant, yeah.
he's well looked after and I have cracked a window. Well, there we go, guys. That's kind of everything as where we stand. We are still in limbo about the other fixtures. God, I hope somehow Palace beat Man United for the first time. Any closing thoughts from you guys? I always open this up as if it's going to be like a Jerry Springer moment.
Yeah.
We've learnt a lot today. Mostly that Oscar doesn't know how to get a decent breakfast.
It was good. I stand by it.
No, it wasn't.
I'm not one to back down from my decisions.
Well, you should.
It's a good breakfast.
You're coming off.
No.
You're coming off.
No.
You're coming off because I'm ending the episode. So you're coming off. So you don't get to decide.
I will stay here and record
You
by
are
myself
coming
for the next
off.
20
Right,
minutes.
that's it. Thank you very much, ladies and gents. Goodbye.
Nah, fuck you.